Hey everyone, I have a question actually. It's what if at the end of this life you will be met by the person that you could have become? And if so, what changes would you make now? I read something similar, a similar sentence not all that long ago, and so I went into my future self just by using my imagination. I went into my future self, and my future self was the highest, brightest, and most radiant being. And what I did was I asked my future self, what change would you have made at this time in my life so that I can be more like you? And she gave me 2 words. She said, show up. So for those of you who are magnetized to my work, I am here to show up for you. So today I'll be doing a live session once a week, and today's session we have a few things to discuss, and I do hope you can be patient with me because this is the first one under Robin Higher Communications that I've done. So I'll just give you a little brief description on what we'll be covering. So firstly, a little bit about me. I am an energy healer, and I have been practicing energy healings for over 30 years. Over the last 5 years I've been doing light body work, and the light body work is through Orin and Daben, Orin, O-R-I-N, Daben, D-A-B-E-N. And that work has taken me into very high dimensions. And that work led me on to become a quantum hypnotherapist. And quantum hypnotherapy takes my clients into a very relaxed state, and their quantum self, which is a level above your higher self, their quantum self, shows them experiences either in a past life, someone else's past life, perhaps as an energy in the universe, or a being on a planet in another universe. It's unlimited with the experiences that you can have as a quantum experience. So that work has given me the confidence to do live today, of which I'm committing to 1 a week for the month of April in 2020. So the format for today, I will be introducing you to my most recent high-level guide and explaining to you about the part that this being is going to be playing, and why. I'm going to share techniques to help with easing your emotions, and forgive me, I do need to use notes because I'm a little nervous. And also there'll be an opportunity for questions at the end, of which I will ask my guide to help with the answers. So the next step is to share with you who my guide actually is. Doing the light body work that I've been doing through Orin and Daben, I have been able to go into trances where I go to very, very high dimensions, which is very exciting. And Orin and Daben introduced me to 2 extra light beings which I weren't originally aware of. I had one guide which has been with me for life. His name is White Cloud, and I have 2 other beings that have been with me over the last 5 years through the light body work. One is my master, who I refer to, and he looks like a being with many colors that come out of his throat and out of his crown. And then to the left of him is a great being of light which comes towards me, and he's been observing me for some time now. Hasn't said anything, but just been observing. And so I recently have been putting out to the universe that I would open myself up to collaborate with great people and great beings of light. And then I was guided to look towards this great being of light who I haven't even spoken to really, just kind of observed, and he's observed me. And so I was told that I needed to converse with this great being of light. So I thought, oh, okay, I best ask what your name is. And so I asked his name. There's no such thing as him or her or male or masculine, but there's a masculine feeling about this particular guide that's recently I've been magnetized to. And he calls himself Alexander the Great. And that was kind of scary at first, because I thought, aren't you like a really bad dude? Aren't you like, didn't you do awful things? So he didn't frighten me or anything, because I had already formed a relationship with him, but he was there for me. And I wondered why he was there for me. So I said, thank you guys. And so I asked him, why is it that you have chosen to come through me at this time? And Alexander said, because there is so much fear on earth right now, that when he was experiencing the life of Alexander the Great, he had experienced a great deal of fear in his life as well, because his purpose was to conquer certain countries, or not the countries so much, but the leaders of countries, which apparently were very brutal. And so how he led his people, his warriors, to move forward and conquer those leaders was he was on the front line. He didn't say, you go and do that. He said, come with me, be with me. And so he had to face his fears and be on the front line of this conquering of these leaders of these countries. And so he said he's a master of fear. He understands fear, and he feels that he has a great deal to share that will help us with coping with our own fears, and of course the mass consciousness of fear which is around the earth right now. And by the way, I'm so grateful. Thank you so much for my beautiful friends for joining me. It really is such a supportive feeling. Anyway, guys, I continue. And so that's why he's been watching me. So I asked, why have you been watching me? Because I could see him. He's been with me for a few years now, watching me. And he said he can see me as many colors. He can see that I am reaching high places. And when it's very similar to when people pray, or when people intend on reaching high places and speaking to whoever it is that's divine for you, they see you as like light shining up. And it's almost like earth is like this, and there's all these beautiful light that's shining in earth right now from the higher dimensions because of our prayers. And they're like, I have heard it described like acupuncture points, and this is all going to be healing for the earth, because of all of us having experienced this mass fear is now reaching up to those higher dimensions, and we're asking for help. And so Alexander has explained to me that this fear in a mass consciousness way is helping towards the change which earth is going through right now, to become from the third dimension to the fourth dimension. And the fourth dimension is love. And we can see from the news, we can see all around us that how much that people are pouring out their love, and you can see that this is working. This mass fear is actually working, even though we're asked to stay in our homes and we're asked to keep away from each other. There seems to be much more oneness and much more love and compassion and kindness, which is spreading worldwide. We're singing outside balconies, etc. We can all see the light that other people are expressing to help each other through this difficult time. And so this mass fear, this mass consciousness of fear, actually has it's a good thing, even though it's very scary for we mortals. It's not easy. So it is my intention through this session is to show people how to help when you feel immobilized by fear, because I wake up shaking every morning wondering, is this fear mine or is this owned by the mass consciousness? And I go, oh no, it's the mass consciousness. I can feel that, and I have to work hard every morning to uplift myself to shake that off. And I'm sure there's many people that are experiencing this. So my masters, Oren and Deben, who are great beings of light, explain that what we must do is to see the light in everyone, to see the light in every situation. And so when we're watching television, see the light, see the good things that are surfacing. And when you're having a difficult time at home because we're stranded with our family, with our children and our partners, etc., and it can be challenging, recognize the light in that person. And so what I do with my husband Shane, when sometimes I find it difficult to see his light, is I just imagine his soul in front of me, and I can see the light inside his heart, and I make that big, and somehow it makes me feel all better. So looking for the light in every situation is what we light workers can do to help. Okay, so the every session will have a technique, and I'm so sorry I have to refer to these notes because it is helpful. So every session that I will have will be a technique that I have taught others. And I'm going to give you the technique for today to help when you are just mind blown with so many thoughts inside your head and it's just so hard to function, and also to help you when you feel immobilized inside. So I learned from a course that I did through the Mandurah Shire. I live in Mandurah, Western Australia. And the Mandurah Shire has been given these beautiful courses to help we entrepreneurs that are just beginning. And a beautiful lady by the name of Belle Lockerbie, who lives in Mandurah, she was holding a course called Power Up Your Business, I believe. And one of the exercises that she got us to do, which I thought was just so fantastic, and I'm going to share it with you, is at the time that I was doing this course, I had a lot of things happening in my life, and my head was full of so many things, like the most hugest to-do list you could ever imagine, and it was a challenge. Anyway, she said to put these yellow, those sticky notes, yellow sticky notes, and just write each thought on each page. And so I was hot with it. I thought, this is awesome, I can let all of these things go. So I wrote and I wrote and I wrote and I wrote and I wrote, and I slapped all these pieces of paper on the wall, not this wall, but on the wall behind me at the time. And I was able to just at least get those thoughts out. And then when I looked around, I saw that all the other people, they didn't have quite so many thoughts as me. But anyway, so I thought, I've got some work to do. So Belle did the most wonderful thing. What she did was she divided those thoughts into 3 columns. And the first column was short-term goals. And so she was there, she read them, and she popped, this is a short-term, this is a long-term goal. So short-term, long-term. But the game changer for me was out of your control. That was the 3rd column. What are these thoughts that are completely and utterly out of your control? And it's just something that is really resonating with all of us now, because so much is happening, so much grief, so much fear, so much pain. Yes, there is so much love, but there is the sadness, and the people that are going to be grieving because of their losses, which is compassion, and love needs to be extended to those people. So people are experiencing things that are out of their control. So there's this column over here, out of your control. So further on from that, I've since had clients who have had these experiences. They've got things in their mind which is out of control. So I share with them to put 2 imaginary boxes in front of them. So we've got 2 imaginary boxes. And so what we do is when we discover we had this thought which is completely and utterly out of our control, we pop that in the out of control box. We pop that in there, like nothing you can do. Put that in the out of control box. And now pull out from the other box, how can I love and look after me? How can I love and look after me? Because we must look after ourselves. We must love ourselves first. Do everything we can to heal our hearts so that we can become powerful, so that we can positively affect those we love around us. So our primary role, yes, we have children to look after, but the question should always be, how can I love and look after me so that I can be a better me to love and look after others? So that was the thought, having the box, this imaginary box, and you pull out, okay, how can I love and look after me at this time because of the stress that I might be going through? So with the out of control box or the out of control list, this is where my work comes in, because I work from a spiritual level to help people overcome their challenges. And the out of control section can be dealt with by asking the universe to assist with that, which is very similar to the mass prayers which are going around the earth now, and the mass meditations that are happening, that people are getting hooked into. So with the out of control section, what I suggest is something that I have, I'll put a link on my website at the end, which takes you to this information. And so this is called the Divine Light Table. I learnt about the Divine Light, or I created the Divine Light Table many, many, many years ago when I felt like I was being bullied by 2 people where I was working at who were levels above me. And I wasn't coping with this bullying, and I loved where I was working, and so I decided to help me with this situation. I always called upon my spiritual books as go-tos to try and resolve any hurt that I was feeling, and so this is what came up, and I have to put my glasses on. So the Divine Light Table, and I'll give you a link so that you have access to it, because it's absolutely brilliant. Because the outcome was, the next day when I went to work, I felt so protected. They never bothered me anymore, and within 3 months, one resigned and the other changed position, so she was no longer anywhere near me or physically. And she was no longer any problem for me at all. And the disclaimer is, though, it must be with the full intention for it to be for the highest good of everyone. Like, it's not damning anyone or blaming anyone. It's about, for the highest good, please can I ask the universe to help. So I created the Divine Light Table. And so it looks like this, Divine Light Table. And I'll share with you what it says. So up the top, it says, under the divine light of the highest order, thank you, great beings of light and Divine Mother, for embracing, loving and supporting me and everyone I love and care for below, which means in the middle bit. Thank you, Archangel Michael, for cutting and carrying away fears, emotions not serving me, and dissolving blockages and past life contracts and any beliefs which are interfering with my happiness, health and abundance. I wanted it to cover everything. And at the bottom, at the footer, I've got, thank you, Archangel Raphael, for healing my wounds and the wounds of all others involved. And so what you do is in the middle, this is an editable PDF, by the way. I learnt that from Belle. She taught me so much. Anyway, what you do is you put down what you would love. So I put a little sentence at the top, what I would love, to remind you it's not about blame, it's not about anger, it's not about putting the onus on other people, it's just sharing with the universe these things that you have no control over. We're going to ask the universe to please take over so that I can let that go. And so write down what you would love. So I find this fantastic, especially for parents when they're worried about their children. So you write down the child's name and what you would love for them. Or if you feel bullied in any way or hurt by someone, don't write anything, just put their name, because that's what I did before. I got nothing to say about those two. Let me just pop their names down. And so we can also use this as like a prayer to a prayer just for anything at all that you might like, and in particular the mass consciousness that is required right now. So perhaps we could write down, please, 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 Divine Mother, or would you please help all the people on earth that are experiencing fear, uplift that emotion. Please help them. We pray for them. We pray for all those people that are grieving. We pray for all these people that are in pain with such fear. Please help uplift that emotion. So we can't do that for them, but we can ask for support. And that's what I recommend we pop in there. So I also have on that same PDF a support invocation, which I find fantastic if all of a sudden you just feel sick with emotion and you just feel immobilized and it's difficult to move forward, and you just feel so stuck. This support invocation, so it'll be on the same link, so you'll have access to that. It says, I ask the source of all creation. That's what I call God, of course. It's all the same power. Choose or whatever, whoever it is, it's all the same power. Chi, Buddha, Prana, it's all the same energy. Anyway, I call it the source of all creation. Create for me a crystalline temple of light for around me. So imagine a crystalline temple of light for around you. And do this for yourselves now. Just follow me now. So I ask the source of all creation to please create for me a crystalline temple of light for around me. I invite all my high level guides, my masters and great beings of light to please join me and join those who are watching this video. Please clear and cleanse all energies which are not of the light, and fill this temple with the highest, brightest and most radiant light and the raised vibrations needed for my healing, my growth and my light. Under the divine light of the highest order, thank you, great beings of light and Divine Mother, for embracing, loving and supporting me. And all these that are watching. Thank you, Archangel Michael, for cutting and carrying away any fears, so getting rid of those, and emotions not serving me, dissolving blockages, past life contracts, and any beliefs which are interfering with my happiness, health, and abundance. We're getting rid of those. Thank you, Archangel Raphael, for healing my wounds and the wounds of all others involved. This really helps, guys. I use it all the time, and I promise you, if you feel immobilized, this invocation, saying to yourself, is such a beautiful one, and it will help get rid of that angst and that pain. So, as I said earlier, I'll pop that on the link. So, at the beginning of the link, there's this front page, and the front page is how to ease worry with the help of the divine light, and there's like further instructions plus links to other things. So that's what, when you press the link, this is the first page, so don't think it's something different. And then the second page is the divine light, the divine light table, and the third page is the support invocation. And I promise you, your vibrations will be lifted, and it is a way to just let go of all of these feelings that light workers or sensitive people are feeling at this time. It is such a challenge, but we can do this, guys. We can do this. Let's be the light. Okay. So discuss the links. Okay, application, amplifying your light to increase your vibration, reach for your higher self. Okay, another thing that we can do, and everyone, it doesn't matter who they are or what they have done, everyone has the spark of the divine. We are all one through our souls. And when we transition or pass away, this spark of the divine is the bit that survives. It's the bit that joins the divine energy and becomes big and great. And so when we pass away, I just want to cover the experience of death for those who are grieving. I just want you to know that through my quantum hypnotherapy experiences, I know that there is no such thing as death. And when we pass away and when we transition, we go into pure positive energy, regardless of what has happened, regardless of whether or not, and God forbid, suicide, all of these things. I feel, so all of these things that have happened in each other's past has no, it has no bearing on where it is you go when you pass away. You go straight to pure positive energy, and you are filled with love, and you have no fear, there is no shame, there is no agony, there is no pain, there is no trauma, there is no depression, there's no anxiety. All of that is just gone, straight to pure positive energy. So I just want to reassure you all that although you may be grieving and you still have to go through those experiences to heal your heart, but please, please, please be of the understanding that your precious ones are in love, and it's a really beautiful place to be. So that spark of the divine that each one of us have, what we can do when we feel ill with emotion is recognizing not only the spark of the divine in others, but we can imagine that spark of the divine within ourselves, and it helps us to amplify that light. So just for a moment, what I would love you to do is to listen with your inner mind and inner knowing and look for that spark of the divine. Have a look for it and see it. And then once you've discovered it, because everyone has it, I would love you to make that bigger. So just imagine that spark of the divine growing bigger, 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 bigger. And it's larger than you. It's larger, greater. Amplify that light to make it bigger. And when you do that, it's not about being protected. It's about raising your vibrations so that you feel ease, so that you feel more comfortable. And so by amplifying your spark of divine, what that does is helps you to uplift your emotion to a better feeling. And whilst you're doing that, you're being a better person for those around you. So the next thing is reach for your higher self. So each of us have a layer which is our higher self, then it comes to our quantum self, and then beyond that, your divine self, etc., etc., etc. It's an infinite thing. I have on my website for free for everyone, when you subscribe, you have access to 5 meditations which are visual meditations because of the hard of hearing and deaf community, and so they are visual meditations as well as for the hearing community. And those 5 meditations will cover amplifying the light within, letting go of things first, letting go of emotions. That's the 3rd meditation. The 4th one is how to bring in the light and amplify it into your body and into your hands and your feet. And the last one is how to connect confidently with your higher self. So on my website, which is there, www.robinegibson.com, please enjoy the 5 meditations, and I also have 2 books on there. They're ebooks because I try to be save paper, and so there's 2 ebooks. The first one is Guide for Empaths. Empaths are sensitive people, navigating life with more ease and grace. And in that particular book, there's all the techniques which I'll be discussing on these live sessions. And the second book is called Conscious Light, Healing Energy Program for the Beginner. And that program teaches you how to become an energy healer. And even if you don't want to practice on other people, just reading that book and looking at the video instructions for those who are people that need to see what to do, I have video instructions, and they all have subtitles also to ensure I continue to serve the deaf community. So there's I believe there's about 17 meditations, or not meditations, video instructions in Conscious Light Healing Energy Program for the Beginner. So that's everything that you need to practice healing energy on others. But even if you don't want to do that, you can do the same thing and placing the hands on yourself. And so it will be really helpful at this time. So please take advantage of those beautiful free services that I have for you. So now is question time. And so please ask a question. And what I'm going to do is I've recently started channeling this beautiful great being of light, which I'm now on first name basis. I'm calling him Alexander because calling him the Great afterwards seems a bit strange. So if anyone has a question, I'd love you to ask, and I will ask Alexander on your behalf. And so while you're thinking of some questions, what I did just before I started here, I did meditations to prepare for this session, and I also channeled Alexander. And I asked him if for some reason I actually find myself not being able to reach him because I might be nervous in this public format, just in case I find that I can't, or maybe that no questions come, I asked him to please give you a message. And the message that he gave me is this, and it's so beautiful. Dear ones, I am here to assist you with overcoming and using this fear that you currently feel in a mass way on earth right now. Amplify your light, as this is the best way to increase your vibration and let go of what pain you feel and see. To increase your vibration, to let go of what pain you and see. And by your light, as this is the best way to increase your vibration, to let go of what pain you feel. Oh, and see things from a higher perspective. Okay, sorry about that. So amplify your light, as this is the best way to increase your vibration, to let go of what pain you feel and to see things from a higher perspective. That sounds better. Earth is changing at a rapid rate. You are loved. Each one of you are also a great being of light in another dimension. Thank you for being here today and sharing this experience with us in the higher dimensions. What affects you on Earth also affects us in a very profound way. there is a ripple effect throughout the whole of the universe, which is an important transition of what it is you are experiencing on earth right now. We thank you for your courage. We thank you for your generosity. We thank you for your kindness of others. We thank you for the shifts that you are making. This is your higher purpose, and we love you for it. So that came from Alexander the Great, which I think is kind of cool. If only I could have articulated it better, but nevertheless. And so no one's come up with a question. Can you come up with a question so I can give it a go? No questions. Okay, let me think of a question that I can think on your behalf. Oh, the best question ever, and I will share it with you, the best question ever, because we all need to, the important thing is, what question do you ask? And for me, the most important thing to always ask your higher self is, what is your next most important step? So every time I have a glass of water, because I believe water is somehow connected, we're full of quite a lot of water within our bodies, and it is also somehow connected with the divine, as proven by that lovely Japanese doctor, Messages in Water. If you haven't read it, magnificent book. And so every time I drink a glass of water, I ask, and this is every time, and by the time I finish all the questions, so I say, thank you for my sacred service. How may I serve? How can I be better? What is my next most important step? And I thank them for the guidance that they give to me. And so these are probably my most favourite questions to always ask the divine. So I think we can end the session now. And I thank you, beautiful friends, for joining me. I'm very grateful. And I send you all my love and all of my blessings.